Good morning. It's Saturday. We actually have a studio audience today. Thank you. Yes, we're so glad to have you. Don't adjust your sets. I am not Matt, but I can try and talk like Matt.
Oh, gosh.
Good morning. This is the Salty Nerd Podcast.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Salty Nerd Podcast.
I am your flavor
I
producer.
am Mr. Kadish. Get it right.
The
Mr. Kadish. You know what we do have, guys? Super chats.
And what do we have going on to the Salty Nerd Discord today?
I don't know. We have a special guest with us this morning.
And Dutch is like,
Bleeding Fool.
God damn it, I don't know what we have going on today. I haven't even looked at it in 2 weeks.
It's Chris Brawley. And Odin's here pretty much on time because we're late. Thanks to Tom's cereal, although he didn't have any. And Brian's still gay.
Gay.
And I'm Lord of the Shelves and
You're Lord
Lord of the Shelves.
pizza and
Pineapple
He likes
pizza.
oatmeal. Odin's
Et cetera,
oatmeal.
et cetera.
I think you should start that. Odin's oatmeal.
Odin's oatmeal. Ugh.
Odin's oatmeal. I like that.
I don't know if anyone. I wouldn't want anyone to actually be eating Odin's oatmeal. That just doesn't sound right.
Odin's
sounds
oatmeal.
No.
I
You
think
know what? I'm making
ready
that a
for
shirt.
this.
That's a new shirt on my
My body
website.
is
Odin's
ready for
oatmeal.
Odin's oatmeal.
I'm actually making a note of that right now. That's
And the
going
three
on the
people that
website.
buy it are going on a list, and that
I'm
list
gonna
is
rub it all over my
do not
knees.
interact with
You'd be
these people.
surprised. There's gonna be a lot of
Okay.
people that buy it.
I'm done doing Matt. I can't talk like that for so long. That's just how does he keep that low energy?
That's high energy, man.
No.
You have to understand, okay? Our high energy is not his high energy. That
I'm
is
just kinda
his
like-
high energy. I know.
Yeah, it says
I'm
iron.
JoJo, the idiot circus boy. And he's fucking like just I am Matt. Good morning.
Well, welcome to Saturday morning.
I can't do that. I just can't do
If
that.
Matt was a leftist, he'd be a producer at NPR. 100%.
Today he'd be fired. He'd be like, I got fired. It sucks. And that's the extent of his emotions on that. He'd just be like, yeah.
Tom, now you
Good morning,
started something. Ichluz says, Odin's oatmeal, now with extra nuts. Gosh.
Oh, no.
I just,
Raisins. Cinnamon. You can put cinnamon in that stuff.
no.
But good morning, Chris. It's good to have you here. I think this is your first time on Salty Nerd Podcast, correct?
It might be. I think it might be. I am a salty nerd, though, so hopefully I'll contribute
are this.
something to the
You know what's
discussion.
weird is I'm wearing a Superman shirt and you're sitting right below me. So it's
Oh.
like you're Lex, but I definitely don't look like Superman.
I am the villain in today's quad.
I look
You
more
look
like
like
Superman's
you look
dad.
like Lex ate Superman and put
No,
his
I
shirt
look-
on.
Yeah, I look like his dad in that movie, Pa Kent. But anyhow, so yeah,
You can be XL instead of Jor-El. You can be XL. So for extra large, I think it's an XL shirt, right? I don't know. I'm going to try it. The dad joke's coming. Priming.
I'll eat most of them.
Much love, Tom.
Oh crap! All right, so let's get into the program here. Let's say hello to the folks out there. We've got a few member chats to kick things off, including Major Chai Chai, who gifted 5 Salty Nerd Podcast memberships.
What's up?
I can't bring it up on the screen,
I got
but
it.
Brian
I
can if he
got
wants
it.
to.
I got it. There it goes.
Yeah.
There you go. And then we got Goran Faith. Thank
False.
you for what?
Sorry, I
Oh, it
his
is
name
false.
False.
You're right. Correct. Yes. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Then that was a gifted membership. And we also have Eric Winberg, who also gifted a membership. Thank you for that, Eric. I recognize that name.
Hey, you
we
got you got to make sure to say what our goal here is. So that's what Matt always does.
Is there a goal?
It's already
Our
been
goal-
reached. It's already been reached, guys.
Our goal
there you
is
go.
150 new memberships.
Wow.
We're getting close, guys.
I think Matt's trying to start a cult. I'm at that point. And then we got Jeremy Hembry in the house. How you doing, Jeremiah Hembry? It says, fantastic gynecology. First steps dropped 80% on Friday. That's bad. Well, to be clear on that, Odin, do you want to
Yes.
kind
So,
of
so this is something that,
explain that one?
I mean, I've run with this too, by the way, because it is like, it's still a pretty sizable number for a Friday
Yes.
to Friday drop. However, it is very typical for most big budget films like that have big opening weekends to drop that much, because remember, that's including Thursday's premiere numbers. That's the Thursday, Friday premiere numbers from last week compared to just Friday this week. So that's why it's 80%. Again, that is high, but it's actually kind of normal. That's why it is right now projected to actually drop 66% for the weekend, which is not good, by the way, but it's not going to be 80%. I can say that much.
So how much different is that than Superman's Friday to Friday?
So for Friday to Friday Superman, it's a little trickier because they had the Prime viewing.
Yeah.
Well, they did kind of have similar showings for this too. That was my understanding. Is it's pretty much almost 1-for-1 in their comparisons.
Yeah.
The only big difference I think was Superman. I think
because it dropped 53% on its second weekend, and that's not going to be anything that Fantastic Four.
Well, yeah, that I know. I was just curious what the difference in the Friday to Friday was, because would it be a similar 15% difference or so?
Let me pull up my.
You have the winning shirt on, Tom.
Today. I try. No, I think the winning movie this weekend, regardless of it maybe coming in at second or third place, is probably going to be Naked Gun.
Okay.
Considering because I said the other day, I think if it makes 15 million this weekend, that's a win for Paramount. Yeah. Being an R-rated, is it R-rated? I can't remember if it was PG-13 or R-rated. But
yeah.
Is it PG-13? Yeah. But considering it skews a lot older, like what kids know what Naked Gun is nowadays, right?
Yeah. And to answer your question, Friday to Friday drop for Superman was 70.5%.
Oh wow!
So
even worse for Superman, actually.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's better.
That was Friday. That was Friday to Friday.
Friday.
80% is what Fantastic Four has just had.
Okay, so
Superman had 70, so it's actually a lot better. But it's also like when you hear a number like that, you're like, oh, 70%, that's huge. It's like,
it sounds horrible.
It sounds bigger than it is, but that's again just that Friday number.
Odin, is that counting Superman's Prime? Too?
So yes, because the way the tracking works is whenever you have a premiere, all of that always gets put into the Friday number.
And Fantastic Four had a few early showings.
I mean, it's already a better number, but that makes it even better because there was no Prime early viewing for Fantastic Four.
To be fair, there was a few other early fan screenings, but I don't know how
different of FF or Superman
for Fantastic Four. But,
okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know if it was to the extent of the Amazon one where it was all at one time.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that saw it like 3 days before it came out.
But so we'll see how this second weekend rolls for Fantastic Four. But we also have Jillian H here, who gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you for that.
Let's go.
Appreciate that.
We're getting close.
And JPS has become a new member.
Yes. On their own. All right, we're on the way.
They got upset they didn't get a gift, so they're like, "F it, I'm just going to buy one."
Now, Tom, where are the other salty nerds this week?
They are off. Already? I think they're
in my closet. I tied them up.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where they're at. They're on some camping trip together in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, they're hanging out in a tent. They're snoodling. Canoodling.
Clear Lake?
Is that what they call it now?
Crystal Lake.
Is that like canoeing and noodling at the same time? So you're canoodling?
It's maybe the first time.
See what you did there, Tom.
It's maybe the first time that this channel has never had a single salty nerd on its panel on Saturday.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, we've been, we've been here from the beginning, but we're not a salty nerd. We're not on the actual Salty Nerd podcast.
No, we're just honored.
We are the salty substitute nerds.
Yes, we're not quite as salty. We're like
the extended family.
We're like sea salt.
We're the healthier version of the salty nerds.
We're in the text chain, but not on the text chain. If you know
there you go.
No, they're busy this weekend. Matt and Matt are, so we stepped in to help them out. Pretty much Brian and I.
Should we hope that the viewership numbers are down then for their sake or up for our sake?
They just better hope we don't burn the house down.
Yeah. Yes. I was going to say, like, patients are running the asylum. We're hoping they're going to get demonetized.
Yeah, basically,
we're talking about the Epstein client list, everyone.
We're naming names.
Oh,
we're naming names today.
Then we're
Here
naming
it is.
the Diddy.
Yeah, basically.
Who had the vaccine?
So basically, Kadish had something going on, so he couldn't do the show, and then Dutch couldn't do the show either because he had something going on, or again, just personal stuff. And so because of that, we originally, or at least it was recommended, Mr. Kadish was going to cancel the show unless someone could host. And Tom, being the amazing person that he is, said, "No, I got this. I got this."
Tom had just done a couple lines of coke, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. I'm stepping up.
I got it."
Yeah, no, like it's funny because there's been like this flip flop of weekends where they took one off. It's like, well, I could have been there and I couldn't make it the weekend before.
Because you left early, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then I was there for like 30 minutes because they really wanted me to come in. And then so like this weekend, I'm like, I'm free this weekend and you're canceling it this weekend? Because I don't know if I'm going to be free next. You know, you're like, you're pushing it here, buddy. So I'm like, no, I'll be here. I'll show up. We'll do this thing. Not that there's a whole lot of news going on. This is kind of a slow week. Nothing's going on in eugenics at all.
Oh goodness. Do you have good jeans, Tom? That's what I want to know.
No, I wear sweatpants. Are you kidding? My fat ass couldn't get into jeans.
Yeah.
I don't wear jeans. They're coming off as soon as they
Brian,
can.
you seem like
I
a
wear
guy.
the jeans though that actually stretch. They look like jeans, but they're really just
so kind of some
sweats that look like
a spandex jort combo.
Yeah. They're basically spandex. You don't need a belt because they just expand
Brian,
like 3 feet.
The problem with those is I get those and they don't expand anymore for me, so I gotta buy bigger ones.
Yep.
That's a rough time when
they're like Mr. Fantastic in the movie. He reached his stretch limit, and
I wish I could.
Yeah,
I'm more like the Bulk. Speaking of the Bulk, we've got some Marvel/Hulk news we're gonna get into here. We got John Yulden though sending in a super chat in the meantime for
let's go
$4.99.
That's my buddy John.
There you go, John. Says have a great show, guys.
Just a reminder, we're doing a show tomorrow, him and I, on his channel, and a Stargate Watch Along, Stargate SG-1. We're on season 2, episode. I fucking forgot, dude. Is it episode 9? I forgot, but it's great.
He's not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
He's just going to pretend he watched the show. Don't listen to Brian.
Are there people out there that are watching podcasts that are going through the Kurtzman Star Trek content?
No, because that would be torture.
Yeah, okay.
No, there are podcasts that do that, but I think all those podcasts exist solely in hell.
We used to.
They're hell-based
sponsored
podcasts.
by Paramount. Yeah,
and then we quit. And then we got Beast 808. Who says it's Bald is Beautiful Day? Blessing, gents. This is true, except for Brian.
That's every day.
I have a rich head of hair.
He does have a rich head of hair.
Oh, that's impressive, Brian. Good for you.
I might be the only salty nerd on this panel that's a regular that has a full head of hair.
Yeah.
Because I could grow hair. As you can see, it's like
he can grow it. He just
I got it, but it's very light. It's it doesn't look good. My little brother has
my
the same
balls
hair
are
as
totally
mine.
bald. So all the hair that would be on my balls is on my head instead.
On that note, we got one more super chat, and then we'll get into the stories here.
I'm confused. What podcast are we on? Wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Cthulhu sends in a $5 super chat to say, Tom, when's the Midnight's Edge member stream? Want to argue with you and Naked Gun 2 and 3. Also glad you all alive after a while. Keep up the great work. Well, I'll have to rewatch 2 and 3. It's been forever.
You were kind of dissing it
when you read that,
Tom.
What was that?
You were dissing it a little bit yesterday.
What's that? Naked Gun
2 and 3. Yeah.
I couldn't get through the second one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and I explained this, and this is where I said this newest sequel is probably the best movie since the first one.
Yes.
Because it also there's a lot to get into that, but I'm not as big as a fan of the Naked Gun movies as I am the Police Squad TV show. See, because the Police Squad TV show actually feels like it's in the same universe as Airplane, where everybody's in on the joke, right? Everybody's just as dumb as Frank. But in the movie,
prefer Airplane too. Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie, what they did is they plucked that those characters and put them in our universe. So like they're dumb, but the rest of the world is normal. Like, and it just in this movie, it feels like they got more of a half and half kind of thing to it, and it feels more like they're leaning more back into the Airplane thing, where at least in Airplane, everybody's in on the joke, right? Like that was kind of the whole thing. Same thing with the original Police Squad show. But it's been years since I've watched Naked Gun 2 and 3. The first one's great though, but
I think
the first one is just like a greatest hits of the show though.
Yeah. Police Squad is the superior product.
Oh, by far. Yeah. Because it works because that's the whole thing is Naked Gun is making fun of a police procedural. So that's why the show worked so well, because it's actually making fun of the whole police procedurals. Like they never even did like the freeze frame on the movie. It's like, how do you not do one of the best jokes from the show in the movie?
Good point. Yeah.
For those who don't know, at the end of every show, they would do a freeze frame with and then like somebody would always screw it up, right? Or like they would have the bad guy who tried to get away and he couldn't get out of the TV frame, like stuff like that.
And that's something that they actually did in the movie, right? In the remake, in the recent one.
New movie?
Sort of. They're leaning more into that than the Naked Gun movies were, but. Yeah, okay. I've been trying to get Andre to get a member stream going but he's been busy with some family stuff, so we'll hopefully get to that very, very soon. And I think with that, other than we got DeBeast808, who is a new member, and thank you for that, DeBeast. And Kalekioku says, Tom, where's Culture? He's a substitute nerd too. Well, if he pops in the chat, I'll definitely send him a link. But for now, I think we've got our gentleman here to take on the news of the week. And to start things off, what do you say we get on to some boobs?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, boobs. I like boobs.
So Odin is going to hide while we talk.
Odin likes boobs too.
I'm working on my rosaries, so I got. We're good. We're good.
But this is America, and this is America right here.
America.
Germany.
America loves boobs. America loves boobs.
Actually, it's an eagle, and everyone knows that the eagle is representative of something.
Correct.
So if we can get this super chat off the screen here, we're talking about Sydney Sweeny, of course, being.
Oh, my bad. Wrong button.
It's all right. He's producing. He's doing all the work, all the grunt work here. Yeah. All right. So what's going on here? Well, American Eagle dropped this ad campaign. What was it? Late last week or earlier last week?
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken the internet by storm. Some folks, and this is what's weird, is it's like there's a division on both sides of the equation. You have the left going, oh my gosh, she's not fat, trans, black enough, Blasian enough, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got the conservative right, like Odin over here going, oh, that's too much boob.
See, and again, there might be a concern. Yeah. I would call myself just a traditional Catholic, and so it's more of a I don't like.
You're just oh my gosh when you see it. You're not like freaking out.
Well, it's more of like the reaction to it actually, because it's a commercial. It is what it is, and only one of them, in my opinion, gets like really. I think just for me, it's like we shouldn't be doing this, because again. What we're doing right now, we're literally objectifying a person. That's my issue with it. It's more of a moral problem.
Well, I mean, she objectified herself.
No. Again, I'm not.
She's objectively getting paid like a muff.
Okay,
let's be real.
That's why I'm not going to take because there's people making the political argument against it, which I think is ridiculous. It's like if you're taking a moral stance and you're consistent in that moral stance, that's one thing, but that's not where these people are. Right, these are the same people that, as you just mentioned, are pushing for children to be able to mutilate themselves and everything like that. So there's no moral equivalency with the group that's going against it politically. But I think if anyone's coming at it from a moral lens, that's like the one negative take that I'm willing to accept on it, really. Because one, it's my own position, but also at least it makes sense.
To be fair, she's not saying spread your genes, right? So she's not like encouraging. Infidelity or anything like that. So, I mean, that to be fair, I mean, there's that aspect of it.
Well, I mean, look, Sydney's got good genes. And I mean, I believe that. And everyone on Earth up until about 10 minutes ago understood that. We didn't really have to be reminded of it. It's just a clever marketing scheme. I totally take Odin's point that it's sort of like it is a throwback to appreciating beauty, but it's also a throwback to when the Carl's Jr. ads or whatever, or even the 90s. It's objectifying women. And somebody made the point yesterday that it's like a hot chick with something, holding something makes a guy look. A hot chick wearing something makes the girls look. You don't need the ugly women from the morbidly obese Sports Illustrated covers or the transgender Victoria's Secret models or the Calvin Klein strange obese couple wearing their underwear. I mean, let's go back to the Marky Mark days. Now, of course, again, it's a throwback to sexualizing everything. But honestly, we've been in sort of this weird brutalist, celebrate what's ugly, celebrate the things that you don't find attractive. And if you don't like it, you're some sort of Nazi right-winger maggot or whatever. And it's kind of interesting to see what's going on here. And I think it's sort of the cultural war that really is going on, where and it goes all the way back to the drag queens at the library reading to the kids, or it's the Disney movies where we're supposed to suddenly start identifying with Maleficent or Cruella, you know, and just embrace evil and all this kind of stuff. Well, suddenly American Eagle just does a nice little classic American Beauty chick wearing jeans. Yeah, there's a great example.
I thought the Maleficent movies are more like embracing redemption, not evil. But
but we don't want villains that have a redemptive arc, because they're not going to be good at the end of the day. I mean, it's
That's
like
the wicked effect.
A Lex Luthor redemption arc. I don't think so.
By the way, guys, Beyonce did this too, and no one said a word.
Yeah, nobody said shit. What we had up here on screen was the actual American Eagle
ad
from before. That now if they'd have done the same exact ad, nobody would have said anything. But the problem is, none of these people actually went out and bought American Eagle clothes, right? The difference is, once they saw Sydney Sweeny in these, they went out and their stock shot up. In fact, a lot of the same clothes that she's worn in these ads have sold out, right? Like, good luck getting your hands on them right now until they restock, because that's how much they're selling. Look, you guys just said it. The throwback aspect to it, I think, is the bigger part of it. So let's take like just quit picking on Odin. Let's take the religious aspect out of it, right? Let's take the actual just, advertising side of this. The ones who are freaking out about this and crying eugenics are the ones who are standing there encouraging people to go to Planned Parenthood, right? And all these other things. Like, these are the last people on earth who have any shape, way, or form of talking about any of this crap. And then they throw these other words out there just to try and make people freak out, right? Like, you know what? Yeah. You've played the Yahtzee card so hard in the last 5 to 10 years that when people hear it anymore, you're the boy who cried wolf. We don't believe you anymore. So look, you could literally go back in time, bring Hitler, set him down in front of me and go, here, see, it's a literal Nazi. And it's like, I don't fucking believe you. I don't believe. How do you know? Yeah. You're like, it's literally Hitler. It's like, you've said that about everybody. How do I know that's literally Hitler? Because you've said it's literally Hitler 500 fucking times now.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're at. So, like, at this point, it's like, okay, so that's the stupidest argument to be made. At the end of the day, it just tells me that maybe we're healing a little bit. Maybe things are getting back to normal. Because that was like advertising 101 when I was in broadcast school, was that women like to see beautiful women doing things because then they think that would be beautiful. If I buy that shampoo will make me that beautiful woman, right? That's why beautiful women are in car and beer commercials, because men see that car or that beer and they go, oh, if I have that woman will want me too, right? Like, that's the mentality that advertisers go in with. That's advertising 101.
Or when they see Sydney Sweeny in a bathtub and they go, I can buy the bathtub bathwater soap.
Yep. Yeah, that was last month. It's ridiculous. But I take your point, Tom, on the eugenics angle, which I really thought was extra ridiculous. I mean, even Stephen Colbert, who is no friend of Christians or right-wingers or anybody that appreciated this ad, called it out for its ridiculousness. But you mentioned Planned Parenthood, and we all know Margaret Sanger is sort of the founder of Planned Parenthood, and it was founded for eugenics.
That's what it was founded for. Yeah.
And all the people who, MSNBC called this some sort of cultural shift towards whiteness or whatever, and eugenics and racism. And I'm like, MSNBC, you probably would run ads for Planned Parenthood if they did ad campaigns. So
why do you think so many Planned Parenthoods are in inner cities?
That's right. And also a fun, I don't say this, realistically, because it's not fun, but a fun stat about that too is in New York City. I forget if it's still going on, but there was, like, in the last several years, there have been several times when there were more children, black children being aborted than being born in New York City.
It's awful.
So it's wild. Like, again, that is the kind of thing. It's like, okay, that's, if we don't talk about, what in the world was that?
Sound like a balloon.
Is the shelf gonna fall?
Your shelves drop. Your shelves drop. Yes, let's go. Let's go.
He's like, it can't.
I have no idea. I need to go.
You're right, Odin. You're absolutely right. It's a shame, and it's the side that are accusing this of pushing eugenics that supported eugenics. We're in the upside down at this point. It's like opposite day all the time now.
Yeah, Al Bundy said it best. Pretty women make us want to buy beer. Ugly women make us want to drink beer.
This is true. That's advertising 101. This is absolutely true. So yeah, I think a lot of it's just a lot of people freaking out over nonsense at the end of the day. I mean, honestly, she's more covered up than some of the other women we've seen in other women in quotations in a lot of other things recently, right?
No, it's
And
wild. I'm sorry, real quick. If you go on YouTube and see some of these new modern day rap and pop stars, it should be age restricted. It is just the songs and bouncing butts and boobs. It is as close as you can get to nudity without being nude, and they're singing about
like our parents in the 80s.
I know. I don't have a problem with it. I'm saying that it's there and it's not age restricted. These like WAP and all these. I know it was like a couple years ago, but there's a lot of songs now where it's just all about being absolute whores, prostitutes, just riding the dick carousel. And these things are praised and promoted online by YouTube and by other platforms. But the second you put Sydney Sweeny in tight denim, all of a sudden people start losing their minds. Yeah. And it's crazy. Some of the I'm sorry to rag on right wing here, but some of the right wing influencers that are really just grifters complaining about this from like a religious aspect. She's not nude. She's covered up. You want to complain about stuff? Complain about the stuff. I'm not talking about you, Odin, by the way. Okay. Complain about the stuff that is in your face nudity, not being age restricted in any way. This is not this is not horrible. This is not something that should be banned from
believe
TV.
I'm agreeing with you on this, Brian, but yeah, you're not wrong. Like it's almost like it led from like, you remember we used to laugh at the adults going, I want to hold your hand and I know what that really means.
Right.
They don't want to just hold hands.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nowadays, then you're like, right, you hear shit like wet ass pussy. It's like, that's what the name of the song is.
Yeah. It's the name of the song.
How could a kid not hear that and not, I can't imagine that.
Well, and the people that are complaining about the ARYAN genes here would have called that song empowering for women.
No, and they do. They actually do call it that.
I know. I've heard it, but there is a trap here, right? So, and Odin really points that out because not to get too puritanical. I mean, I'm a believer as well, but it is sort of causing those of us on the right to sit and, clap like seals and applaud more objectification of women, right? Which Sydney Sweeny clearly represents, but she's also not a terrible actress, and she's just leaning into her good genes, her assets. She's cashing in now while she can. Hopefully she won't do the heel turn that suddenly Scarlett Johansson is doing, where she said, oh, when I was younger, I was doing all this. I was being objectified on film all the time. Well,
What I like about Sydney is that she is a free speech person. She doesn't take everything too seriously. Yeah. She really leans into her audience. She reminds me of actors, and celebrities from like the early 2000s, late 90s, where they just go, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm not saying it's special. I'm not saying I'm a feminist. I'm acting. I'm entertaining." I like that about her. She just entertains.
Have you seen the footage of her out on a shooting range? First time she went to shooting range.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
See, that to me was more impressive. Like that to me was like
100%.
This is what should be praised right here.
That should have caused meltdowns. I'm surprised it didn't. But she's also defended. Somebody commented on a family or friend that was a Trump supporter, and she defended that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, she's already sort of torqued the left a little bit.
I was going to say, let's be real. What is this really about? This is politics. If she was an ally, they wouldn't be saying anything.
Exactly right.
If it was the same ad,
if
it was the same ad with a trans person,
yeah,
same shots,
100%.
Same everything, literally, no one the left would not be complaining about this.
They'd be praising it.
I'd be applauding it, but as they said with the fat black chick, they didn't go out and buy the clothes. Yep. But here's my point: is it could be the same exact ad if it was an ally, Odin, even if it was a white chick. Not trans, but a white chick, as long as it was somebody, and that's the thing, because that's the number one thing here we're kind of dancing around. She's never actually come out as conservative, but it's well known that her family is, and it was hinted at over and over and over again through the whole election that she was, and that was where everybody was like, oh, she's one of those people that they're getting behind because she's one of them. And that's what this is really all about. Let's be real. It's not about it's not that it's Sydney Sweeny doing it so much as it's what Sydney Sweeny represents, right? And from the beginning, from this whole idea of her becoming this big, huge thing that she has become, because I can't quite call her a star yet because she hasn't quite proven that out in the box office, as I'm sure you'll tell everybody, Odin.
Mm-hmm.
But what she is like an icon now, right? Like she's become this status symbol for this idea that we need to kind of get back to normal, right? Because she represents this, kind of girl next door, 90s kind of woman mentality kind of thing that they hate.
Mm-hmm.
And they hate it with a passion because it's a woman who's healthy and she, represents, just
She
basic
shoots guns, works on cars.
American values, right? And that scares them and they hate
She
that.
reminds us of American values. Yeah. You know what made me a Sydney Sweeny fan is when I first watched it, I watched that SNL where she hosted. And it was the first time in years that I consistently laughed during an episode of SNL. And at the very end of the episode, when the names come on screen and the closed captioning, they were splitting all the names and closed captioning to avoid her boobs on purpose. And I was just laughing because it reminded me of the way SNL was in the 90s before it became a part of the left-wing media, another business that just promoted left-wing ideals. And I'm not saying that, I know Odin doesn't like the promiscuity part of it, but it was funny that the closed captioning person on SNL was purposely avoiding her boobs as the joke. That is pure SNL, or 90s style SNL. That would not have, you would not see that if Scarlett Johansson was hosting SNL. They wouldn't do it. But you can do it with Sydney Sweeny. She didn't mind.
Well, also, like with the ScarJo thing, because it was brought up earlier. Like two things can also be true at once, right? Because I will be critical of things like that just because of the objectification aspect of it. And again, people will say it's like, well, it's not like she's naked. It's not like she's just like, yeah, but you're still looking at her as an object. You're still looking at her as as a piece of meat for your own, objectification.
To be fair, you're not wrong.
But at the same time, I'm also saying that if you are someone like ScarJo, and then you're saying, oh yeah, when I was younger, I was objectified and I was used, and I'm like, no, you can't play victim. So it's like I'm also going to be on that side where it's like, no, you can't play victim when you were making these choices to do those things. I don't think that people should have objectified you because, again, I have an issue with that just morally speaking, but you also can't play victim for something that you yourself chose to do.
Like took advantage of and profited
exactly.
From. See, that, and that's where I was kind of saying with Sydney Sweeny things. She got paid, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the big difference between Sydney Sweeny and others, and I know you may appreciate this, Odin. Mm-hmm. She's not somebody who's been in 50,000 relationships like Taylor Swift or some of these other folks, right? Like she's been in like one long time relationship, and most recently she's been rumored to be with Glenn Powell, right? Yeah, so that's two guys in like 10 years that she's been connected to.
Although if her and Glenn Powell had kids, that might be eugenics.
That would be eugenics.
Master race here.
Those would be more. They would be probably some of the best looking kids you ever saw.
I think
or
Sydney,
the ugliest.
She has very nice décolletage. There's no doubt. I don't find too much problem in art appreciating beauty. You can go all the way back to the Statue of David, right? I mean, how promiscuous was, or how obscene might that have been to some people. But as long as she's not doing pornography, I guess she does nude scenes. I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, but not.
She does topless scenes.
Oh yeah, my wife and I tried to watch White Lotus, and by about 2/3 or halfway into the first episode, when we have to look at that guy's crotch shot, we tapped out immediately.
I hated White Lotus.
There were I saw clips of it that seemed to support my faith later on Breitbart I was looking at, so I thought, well, this might be okay to check out, and no, we're out of that. So I mean I totally get it, but I do defend American Eagle for just saying, hey, we're going to put a pretty girl in an ad and sell some jeans. Go for it.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Pretty girl on an ad, guys.
That's all they did.
I mean, not racist. We're not making a statement. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Right. If the alternative is Dylan Mulvaney selling Bud Light, I'm definitely down with Sydney Sweeny selling jeans. Right.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Carl's Jr. If it doesn't get all over your face, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, I mean those.
See, that's
are
the thing, Brian,
borderline
is like,
obscene. Yeah, I
this
know.
is like one of the most benign,
yeah.
Right.
straightforward, run of the mill. And that's the thing I find hilarious about this, because American Eagle is not like this company that most people have ever mentioned, right? Like
Yeah.
Levi is more like I mean, even for women, like I could.
I mean,
I
that
don't
shouldn't
know
be a racy image there, right?
No.
I mean, I saw racier images for promotions for the Dukes of Hazzard.
right.
So
But now again, if Sydney Sweeny was known as this left ally who
yeah,
who's going through men like Taylor Swift, they'd have no problem whatsoever.
yeah.
It's
None.
the fact
But
that
they had
she,
it.
Go ahead.
And it's not even just that. It's the fact that she is not an outspoken ally, and it worked because they've made hundreds of millions of dollars off of it.
that's
in
what's
just
bothering them more.
Same
So
with
it's
the
like
soap, soap
they're
company.
they're bothered by it because they've been trying to paint this picture. They've been trying to basically control the narrative. They've been trying to change the minds and hearts, right? They've been trying to basically indoctrinate the world into their worldview, and they overplayed their hand. I think COVID honestly was what really unveiled it for a lot of people. Like a lot of normie people finally woke up and said, oh gosh, I didn't even realize how crazy things had gotten, because they actually got to listen in to what teachers were talking about in their schools. Like that's where a lot of that stuff came up, right? Was the Zoom calls, Zoom classes, right? People
really good
finally
point.
woke up. Like that was the overstepping. And so this is just that reminder that no, guess what? All that stuff you just tried and how much it failed, it took one commercial doing one thing the old way to prove that still works, and everything you've just built up is worthless.
You have a good point there on COVID. Like COVID was actually good for the culture because it got to a lot of normies who weren't paying attention, were sort of forced to pay attention to all this crazy nonsense. A lot of parents were now in on the crazy. Before, when they would be like, oh, that's not happening. Oh, I don't see that. And they sort of shut it out because they're busy. They're going to work. They're going to school, whatever. They don't got time. They're parents. They're working individuals. But all of a sudden during COVID, they're not working. And now they got to pay attention. And they're seeing how insane the left is and how absolute crazy some of these teachers are. And they have to wake up. They have to.
That was just one part of what felt like almost a divine intervention of sorts, right? It was
It
like,
did,
had
yeah.
COVID not happened, we'd still be knee deep in this shit, and they'd still think that they're winning, right? And that's exactly what Odin was getting at too, and that's the problem they have with this. They could care less if Sydney Sweeny was doing this ad and American Eagle's stock didn't budge at all, right? They wouldn't have said a fucking word. This is just like when a big company, like a big term that goes around is it suable, right? Like is studios, that's their big word. Is like, well, they kind of copied on one of our movies. Well, is it suable? What suable means is it worth anything?
Yeah.
Right? Because if it ain't worth nothing, then they ain't gonna bother taking the time to fucking worry about it. But in this case, it's the same damn thing here. It's like, oh, people are paying attention to this. Well, then we got to pounce on that like a panther and fucking cry, you know, Hitler and racist and every goddamn thing we can. Sorry for using the D word there, Odin, but no, I try to curtail that around you. But like, yeah, I mean, in this conversation, it is kind of important because at the end of the day, it's those American values, those kind of like throwback values, which is kind of funny because if you've seen The Naked Gun, this is kind of what the bad guy's trying to do. Is get the world back to kind of square one again. But like, yeah, it's just kind of where the way that people reacted to it, and their stock jump is better than they've ever done before. And what I compared this to, because the funny thing is they're making fun of, or they're satirizing, or they're homaging the original what's her face from Blue Lagoon, help me out here, Brooke Shields. They're doing the original Brooke Shields Calvin Klein ad. And what I've found is funny is even though they're satirizing or homaging that ad, the one that this reminds me of is when they brought Marky Mark and Kate Moss in the 90s and saved Calvin Klein. Because Calvin Klein was on the brink of bankruptcy because no one was paying $100 for their underwear, right? Like the biggest thing they had was that Brooke Shields thing and the joke in Back to the Future. Otherwise, nobody was buying that crap until those ads came about and they saved the company. It's kind of the same thing here. Like nobody was talking about American Eagle. Like last time I was at American Eagle outlet, I think I bought like a cheap leather jacket because it was like one of the sleeves was an inch longer than the other. Right, like that's the kind of place American Eagle Outlet was before. You know what I mean? They're just a cheap clothing brand that was like lower on the totem pole than J.C. Penney at some points. Like, and now all of a sudden, they're selling out. Right, like everybody wants those specific pants. Right, like specifically like the ones that she had with the butterfly on the butt. Those are gone. Like and all that kind of stuff. They're like, see, there you go. And it was 16 the other day. It was up. I think it was.
Yeah, it was up to almost 16. But before the ad campaign, it was below 8, bro. It was low.
And the reason why, because this is something that we have to always remember, the reason why they were so vocal, why the mob came out so badly against it, it was not only because of how successful it was and because it is just everything that they are against as activists themselves. It's also because they wanted to try to destroy it, destroy her, destroy American Eagle, everything about it, have them bow, have them seek an apology, because if they were able to do that, guess what? That would mean that they would then, in their own minds, be safe from anyone trying to do it in the future. But the fact that it has been successful, the fact that they haven't backed down, this is now giving the green light to other companies to say, hey, we can actually do this now, or we can do this again, because guess what? That's money on the table that you're just leaving there. And though a lot of companies have been taken over by activists, not all of them have. So I think that you're probably going to see a lot more ads, not necessarily like this, right? You might even have some of them try to even hire Sydney Sweeny or someone like Sydney Sweeny for all we know. But it's going to be, I think, something that's like a return to how commercials used to be. And that is something that, again, I think is probably going to be very successful for them.
I think it's because it's a trend too. So like one might be luck, two, coincidence, three is a trend. And this is the third ad campaign that she's done where the company benefited from the ad. It wasn't they benefited from the ad socially. Wasn't they benefited from the ad because they got more engagement. No, they financially benefited from the ad. The soap company made so much money on the first ad that they launched a second ad campaign and sold soap based on the first ad campaign. It was so successful. They're like, you know what? Remember that ad you liked with Sydney Sweeny in the bathwater? We're just gonna sell soap based on that now. They killed it.
That was Dr. Squatch.
Dr. Squatch, yeah. They killed it. So 3 is a trend. So the trend is, you ignore the social, left-wing politics, make cool ads, and you might sell some product. Oh, surprise, surprise. So going back the way we did it for years before all of a sudden everyone was worried about ESG scores. Awesome. So it's a trend. People are realizing that you put good ads, you put pretty girls in ads, or you make an ad that's sort of irreverent and just about your product, and you might actually financially benefit versus just socially benefit.
Great.
Well, the hilariousness
about the ESG too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, and the hilariousness of this whole thing is it's basically using their mentality against them, right? At the end of the day, because they're the ones who say, like, well, people want to see themselves in ads. It's like, well, yeah, you've been putting such a small percentage of the population in these ads. Nobody cares. Jaguar, the CEO stepped down. Guess what?
Man, good point.
Mm-hmm. Bud Light, biggest brand in America. Not so much anymore now, is it? See, this is the shit that happens when you do this kind of crap, when you turn against your core audience. Right. And Bud Light, that was the stupidest, the dumbest thing of all. Mm-hmm. Right. Like
there's not an ESG fund on the planet that could make up for what they lost.
No, and all you had to do was just consistently do what you've done for the past 50 years. 50 years.
Clydesdales,
Buxom Blonde, and Clydesdales.
Yeah, come on. You didn't even need to objectify.
Yeah, the frogs.
Budweiser. Like, that's like the most memorable ad of all time.
Genzi, the dog. I mean, anything, whatever.
Do you know one of the reasons why I leaned into advertising when I went to media school was because of the Budweiser ads, because they were so clever, because of the Real Men of Genius, because of the frogs.
Yeah, remember those?
And they knew when to pull them, right? They wouldn't overkill it. Mm-hmm. Right, they would just let you have just enough. It's like it was just like when you all of a sudden you'd hear Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. You're like, yes, we got to do it. Is it one I've heard already? Genius. Yeah, it's like you'd be like, oh, is it one I've heard yet? And so like those.
Yeah, you remember when Super Bowls?
Yeah.
There was a moment there where Super Bowls were more about the commercials and the halftime show than the actual game itself. How many people were invested in watching the Super Bowl because how great the ads would be?
Yeah.
Talk about legendary. When was the last time you saw a good Super Bowl ad? I mean, it's been a decade
while.
almost. Yeah.
And most of the time we talk about them now, it's for the wrong reasons, right? Like,
Right.
Here's another example. What was it? The Ritz cracker commercial they had that one year where it was like a minute and a half ad all about the gunkle, the gay uncle. And at no point did they have anything to do with the Ritz crackers whatsoever.
Right.
It's like, this is
I
your
remember
ad
that.
now? Or was it Doritos? I don't even know. That's how sad it is.
Yeah.
Because they didn't promote their product. And it's
Yeah.
like, I went to school for this shit. It's like, first and foremost, you put your product in the people's face. You make sure you say the name 1,000,000 times. Right. So when I get out of that commercial, exactly. So when I get out of that commercial knowing I know what to go down and look for, like that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
And
So,
at the end of the day,
what this is
a win
showing
for
is that
them.
this is showing that politics in ads don't work. Without politics, they do. Okay. So it's not about objectification. It's about them losing their access to another wing of their left-wing liberal marketing. And they're going to lose it because the businesses are like, I'm not going to pay a bunch of money for an ad that doesn't make me any money. Yeah. Oh, because well, you're telling me the young people they're going to get older and want to buy my product. Well, that hasn't been happening. We're talking about over 2 decades now of you guys trying to do that, and it don't work. Instead, you get boycotted, you lose profit, you lose stock, you actually lose. So you spend millions of dollars on an ad only to lose money. Then you spend a little bit more money on the ad, and you make a ton of money. Oh, it's not rocket science. Keep politics out of ads. Make cool ads. Doesn't have to be objectification. Just make a cool ad. Not that hard.
Yeah, if somebody around the boardroom table when you guys are brainstorming the next marketing says, "Hey, but we can get some ESG funding for this ad," you need to show them the door, because I know that ad is not what we want.
Anybody got Larry Fink's number? Yeah, and share my screen here because this was American Eagle's response. There was a few fake ones going around that were actually quite clever, but this one is actually similar. And here again, they're using their own mentality against them, and I love this. So what we're looking at here on the screen for those who are just listening in says Sydney Sweeny has great genes, and always was about genes. Her genes, her story. We'll continue to celebrate her how everyone wears their AE genes with confidence their way. Great genes look good on everyone. See, not that hard to do. I know I fumbled reading there, but yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the right response, by
it's
the
her
way.
truth.
You don't have to complain about anyone. You can just be like, look, guys, chill out. It's about jeans. Relax. These are about denim jeans. Calm down.
I know what they're doing, Brian.
And meanwhile,
I can see
every
it.
time they talk, every time she shows up, the stock price bumps up a little bit. And it did take a drop after the whole controversy because retail investors are nervous. They see a raise and they freak out and they go, oh, they might trip, and they leave. But that stock is going to recover. And over time, their stock price is going to be higher because of this one ad. Not only is their stock price going to be higher, but they sold an insane amount of clothing. And that's the point of an ad, to sell product, not to increase your social awareness.
That's right.
And it got so much attention that I'm honestly interested to see whatever Sydney Sweeney's next movie is, how well it does, because again, as Tom had mentioned, like, she really isn't a star by the standard that many of us would like define or quantify, but we absolutely do have some at least initial evidence that her with certain combinations in certain kinds of movies do sell, right? Because she was in that oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the name of it, but she was in that one movie either last year or the year before where it made a boatload of money. And
Yeah, the one that was out at the same time as her other one, wasn't it?
It was with her and that other guy that you had mentioned,
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, right? So it was like her and the Glenn Powell movie, but it's like, guess what? Two attractive people as a couple in a movie, in a romantic film. Guess what? That's going to bring out a lot of the female audience. It's going to bring out a lot of the couples for date night. And so if she's able to kind of like, she seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders in many regards. I think that if she starts to take on those roles a bit more, like, imagine if she had a movie coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
I think it'd be doing gangbusters because the timing would just be so perfect. Now,
Dude, that
who
movie
knows?
was a romantic comedy, and there was nothing political or social or woke in it whatsoever. It was just a classic, romantic comedy. And Glenn Powell is funny, and she was cute, and it didn't have to be that complicated. That's why that movie did well. It wasn't complicated.
Yeah, and that kind of and to kind of get us off this and move on to other things. That's kind of why I think movies like Naked Gun and Happy Gilmore
There you go.
have been doing well. And
Yeah, it's a
we're gonna talk a
return
little bit
to
about
irreverent humor, right?
yeah, but let's. Well, we do have some super chats to get through, as our good buddy Matt would say. So let's see here where we.
I know
left
he would
off.
say, but you know what's even cooler?
Yeah, I know.
Super
I
chats.
Chats,
I
yeah.
almost was going to do something like that, but anyhow. We got Mikey coming in here. How you doing, Mikey? Sends in $9.99. Says, "What up, nerds? I'm out on the range training with Mexican Iron Kid. So at age 12, he's prepared for attacks by aliens, zombies, or them Democrats. Yes, Sweeny has a safe space at my place. I'm sure she does.
Oh, that's good news. I know she'd
It
be
is.
pleased.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
And then we got Paulie over at Latino Slant coming in here. He says, Tom is from the masturbator race. Hey.
Oh,
Hey. And
there
then
were a
Mexican-
lot of funny movie titles. Grok was going overboard making Sydney Sweeny movie stills for things like The Master Racer, the Rise and Fall of the Third Bike. You know, all these Aryan Nazi type titles for her
My
starring. in.
favorite one of all the freakouts, though, was her initials are SS.
SS.
Oh no.
It's like, are you kidding me? Are we getting to that point here, kids?
Man, could you
Like,
imagine the complex machinations of the ad agency that said, we want an Aryan Nation eugenics promoting ad campaign for our jeans. Who should we hire? Sydney Sweeney's initials are SS. Bam, call our agent.
You know what audience really
Yeah.
buys jeans? Those
Yeah.
neo-Nazis. They buy a
Yeah.
lot of jeans, I
Neo-Nazis.
tell you.
Yeah.
They buy a
Oh,
lot of
man, come on.
jeans.
That's an
You know what?
untapped
I think
market.
I got an idea for Chips Ahoy with Hitler as the as his campaign manager, just like out there.
Nine.
Cookies. Yes, bicycle cookies. They have more chips. No. Anyway,
I didn't realize
Mike's
that Herman
gonna-
Cain was a Nazi because he had the 999 plan.
Oh,
Yeah.
999.
He's a gunfighter.
Mikey
Or
also-
a Nazi Oreo commercial where the instead of brown they're just white chips with white frosting.
white in the middle with black.
What
on
if
the
she had a
outside.
brown shirt on underneath her jean jacket?
Or all white Oreos? That would be. There you go. Like no chocolate whatsoever.
But vanilla on vanilla on vanilla.
Vanilla on vanilla on vanilla. Mikey is in the house again with a member chat and says, Tom using no words too much. So I'm going to tattle on him and to Mr. Kadish. Busted, Tom. Well, it's just, honestly, I think Matt has a potty mouth too sometimes.
Matt does have a potty mouth. You know.
He has a little potty mouth. But anyhow, speaking of potty mouths, ribbity-doo, let's talk about Adam Sandler and how Netflix is the big winner really last week. It wasn't the Fantastic Four or anything at the theaters. My gosh, did you guys see the numbers on Happy Gilmore 2? 46.7 million views
Wow.
in one weekend. Their biggest premiere ever. I mean, yeah, Odin, kind of give us a perspective on this, because of course, I'm sure a large portion of these people wouldn't have went out to see it in theaters anyway. But even if a fraction went and bought tickets, that would have gave Fantastic Four a run for its money, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, if you're using some Zack Snyder math, that's
Zack
a
Snyder
billion.
math that made more money.
That's a
than any
billion dollar
ever.
movie. That's
That's
most,
a $1 billion movie.
Yeah, that's easily a $1 billion
Opening
That's
movie.
a $7
weekend.
billion movie right there.
And
No, but
honest-
like we even took like a fraction of it, and it's like, gosh, that would be 100 million. Would be if like a tenth of that went to see it or whatever it was. But yeah, go ahead.
You were talking about that. Like the first one did $40 million. The first Happy Gilmore did. They would take 5% of the viewership of this Netflix movie. They would have made 80 million at the theaters. It's crazy.
But anyway, do you think that's something that's possible, Odin, or do you think that's just kind of fuzzy math? in it?
that this would do. Yeah, I mean, it's always tougher. It's never going to be equal, because just because you're able to watch it on streaming, you have Netflix, it's on, it's being promoted, it's like on your queue. That does not mean that you would then also have the same willpower or desire to spend X amount at the theater to go see it there, right? So that's why, when Zack Snyder made that comment, it was like, okay, this is the dumbest thing ever, because that's not how any of this actually works. You can't actually make that equivocation. But I was trying to look up to see, okay, where does this actually compare to Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, which I was looking at this article from The Wrap, which says rises to 34 million views on Netflix in post-Christmas second week of release. So in 2 weeks, it got to 34 million. Rebel Moon did, and obviously Happy Gilmore is destroying that number there. But no, there's no equivalency between those two things. Now, I think it would have done decent. I think it would have done 15, 25 million maybe, right? It would have done maybe Naked Gun numbers, maybe even more for all we know.
Yeah, I think a little better, but yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard to kind of, quantify it in that way, because it was made for streaming. And that's, his deal with Netflix. I don't know how long his deal has left, or what the deal is, or how long it's, because he's been, how many years now has he been with this deal?
He renewed it.
Years.
He renewed it recently.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing.
Second one. Yeah.
Again, it's kind of amazing that he has been doing it this long, and that he has put out maybe 1 or 2 movies that people would say on Netflix were actually like worth watching. This is one of them. So
well, that's the thing.
There's a lot of movies on. He's done a lot of movies though that I think people keep coming back to. So I think
he has
Netflix
like the
is
Jennifer
less.
Aniston ones. I think that did.
The murder mysteries are fun. I actually like those movies a lot.
Yeah.
I think the people, the deal that Netflix made with them is beneficial to them, because they keep coming back. They stick around for the Adam Sandler stuff. Like he's a staple now.
We were kind of talking about this yesterday. I feel like a great idea would have been for Netflix to maybe put this in theaters, and at the end, before the final after credit scene or whatever, have a QR code and say, hey, half off or a free month of Netflix, scan this now. And they could have bumped their numbers. The question was, is this causing Netflix to grow their subscribers having these Adam Sandler movies? It just feels to me like, to Odin's point, if you own Netflix, you've probably seen this promoted to you now for weeks or months or however long they have this in the queue. But could you imagine if they had promoted that in all these, Naked Gun, here's a trailer for Happy Gilmore 2. I guarantee you people who are paying money to go see Naked Gun in the theaters would pay money to go see Happy Gilmore in the theater.
And also it reminds me of, because some people make this equivalency where, for instance, when Black Widow came out, the people make up the excuse of like, well, it didn't do that well because it had a day and date release on Disney Plus. And I'm like, oh, is that how that works? Oh, so please explain to me how the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, which also had a day and date release,
Halloween,
did as well as it did in the theaters. It's because it was able to have that audience that was ready for it. They could have, I think that, to your point, they could have absolutely done that, where had they done like a day and date release in theaters too, hey, they could have just packed on some money, given themselves a bit promotion. But the reason why they wouldn't do that is because Netflix is huge. They don't really need the promotion. It's kind of hard to say like a company doesn't need more promotion, but like Netflix is one of the few companies where it's like it really doesn't need that much. Like it has enough promotion by simply saying, "Oh, we have Happy Gilmore 2 on our service."
It just feels like there's money left on the table though. When they could have pulled in $15-25 million off a theatrical release, well, of which they'd get to keep, half of.
It would pay for the budget pretty much, right?
At least,
like at the end of the day.
Yeah, at least. And I think some of the other channels could do that also. I mean, Disney Plus could do that with their releases. And I think 100%. To your point about Black Widow, I think that's an excellent point. There are a lot of people that don't subscribe to these streaming channels. They're watching Tubi or Freevee or whatever came with their AT&T phone,
or the Pirate Bay,
or they're sailing the high seas.
Radar sonar server. Yeah.
So there are people I think that just don't know. Like if you put Happy Gilmore 2 out, I think somebody said yesterday also, "Hey, I didn't know that was coming out," and the comment was, "No, it's on Netflix." Right. So there
was
are
me
people
because
that
my buddy asked.
Yeah. They just don't know that these things are on streaming sometimes. I think
he thought it was coming out in
market.
theaters. And, this is the first time I've ever seen a streaming movie get like promotional stuff for like a fast food restaurant. And these sold out the first weekend where I'm at. I don't know if you guys can still get them anymore. I was only able to get 2 cups because they're gone.
That's crazy.
And the lady at our local one, she's like, "Yeah, we got our 2 boxes and they're gone already. And we're not going to probably get any more." So, I mean, to me, that tells me there's some, and here's the thing. And the reason I asked this, Odin, is because I agree with you. I think it would do about the same as Naked Gun, but I think it would do a little bit better.
Yeah.
And from where Chris is coming from, Paul Chatto on the show this week, I think it was, who brought it up. He's like, it would make sense for Netflix to open up like their own theaters. Or was that you, Chris, who said that? One
No,
of the
that's
two.
Paul. Mm-hmm.
It was Paul. I was gonna say, yeah, because as we were in the midst of this conversation, I'm like, yeah, why not? They could buy up all these theaters that closed up, just show Netflix only stuff. You go in there, you get to see it before it drops on Netflix, stuff like that. They can make themselves quite a bit of money doing that. And the thing with Happy Gilmore too is, yes, Adam Sandler's done sequels before, but this is the first time he's done a sequel to one of his first 10-year decade movies.
One of his
classics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why I know this one. The reason Happy Gilmore was picked first, because he's been talking about doing Little Nicky too, and Billy Madison too, and some of these other ones. The reason this one was picked first is because this one sold the most DVDs, videos, and the highest on streaming. Yeah. Happy Gilmore is huge. You know, like that's the one that everybody knows. So I think I would be willing to bet, I wish we could have seen this, that the movie would have made $40-50 million its opening weekend.
Yeah.
I think it would have.
Maybe.
And I think it would have really put a dent into Fantastic
I
Four.
want an Airheads reunion movie. So
Coneheads.
That's one of his flops, unfortunately, but it did do well on video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else said, why don't we get a Bulletproof 2? It's like, I don't even know if people remember he was in that movie.
Yeah.
He was in what?
Bulletproof with
Big
David
Daddy.
Wayans.
I could see a
gosh.
Big Daddy sequel, The Kid Grown Up or something.
Big Daddy makes sense.
That could totally
Billy
work.
Madison is kind of the problem with Billy Madison is there's only like one direction you can really go with that, and that is he either screwed up in college and now he's got to go back to college again, or he became a teacher and it's his kid now who's screwing up or something like
Rodney Dangerfield.
Or Eric comes back, like Eric becomes the owner of a company and is able to buy out the shares in order to take
Something like
control,
that,
and so he has to like.
You can
And
do
yeah,
you can do a Big Daddy sequel every like 18 years,
Right.
easily.
It's big granddaddy. There you go.
Yeah, but no, like I was
Granddaddy. I like it. Yeah.
I was looking into the budget, and they were reporting how the original film cost $12 million to make back in 1996, and this one cost significantly more at $30 million. I'm like, yeah, well, in today's dollars, actually, that's not much more than the original.
Same, yeah.
It's like 24 million
say, are you kidding
or
me?
so. Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Significantly
Hold the
more.
phone.
Yeah.
Time
30
out.
years later?
yeah,
Are you telling me Adam Sandler made a movie that was less than $100 million?
yeah. At
What
least
universe is this? This was the guy that had it dicked because he was going out there for Sony making just give me $100 million, and they give it to him.
Yeah, and he would
he'd
take
make
all
the
of his
movies.
friends on vacation for like
Basically.
a few months to make a movie. Why do you think all of his movies were like, on vacation spots? Oh, Murder Mystery is in the Bahamas.
This one's in
really,
Hawaii.
Adam?
Yeah, in Hawaii, yeah.
Now, I will say the reports are, because this is like the age we live in, I wish there was like an official agency where every studio had to report exactly what their budgets were. It would just make my job so much easier. But it's like the first hits on the search are like Hindustan Times and the Economic Times of India reporting the budgets. And then you have like Fandom Wire, like a few after that. So I'm like,
I'm good.
okay,
I'm not looking at Hindustan Times.
And
Yeah,
I may
I
have
mean,
told you this before, Odin, but this
Yeah.
is something I've learned. And we actually have an interview with somebody that can kind of confirm this. To where a lot of these times when they say the amount of money they're spending on these movies, they're only spending about half of that. Half of it's going into somebody's pocket, usually a production company, a producer,
Oh, yeah.
so and so on. Because, like, for instance, like when they made The Exorcist 4 twice, for those who don't remember, they did The
Totally
Exorcist,
worth it.
Yeah, they did The Exorcist the beginning with a totally different director, and then Rennie Harlan came in and reshot the entire movie. And they claim they spent $45 million on it when they only spent 20.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing. And this is like a normal thing. And then it's the same thing with some of these production companies with these streaming things. I can't remember which movie it was, but there was a couple of movies that were on Amazon and some other places where the production companies were talking about how basically, they got X amount to spend on the movie, but then half of that was going towards paying the production company for the cost of doing business, basically.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I saw an interview with Pete Safran, who made he's the co-head of DC
now,
Studios, but he's also his own guy, his own producer. He did like the Conjuring movies and all that. People, I remember someone asked him, "How do you do so well? How do you make movies for such a low amount and yet they make so much money in theaters?" He goes, "I just make the movie." I think his genius is he makes the movie and a bunch of people aren't in the kill taking a bunch of money out of the register. He just makes the movie. It's just a movie. It's not that
This
hard.
is where I question Superman, and this is one of the reasons why I know Safran was teamed up with Gunn, is because he is very budget conscious.
Right.
He is somebody who knows how to deliver a film very cheaply. And Gunn, regardless of how you felt about some of his past films, he has, as far as we know, delivered on budget. The only time he went over budget or remotely close was, I think, the first Guardians film, but that was because Disney made him go back and do some reshoots.
Right, to fit it in, right.
Yeah, so other than that, I don't believe that Superman cost as much as some people are saying. Now, that application that went around is one thing, but that was so they could get the maximum tax breaks on everything.
Of course, yeah.
But you also
these guys are
rely
earners.
on that form.
No, but that's what they're claiming they were expecting to spend. Now,
Yeah.
Valiant.
Now,
has
how much
explained
of it was
Mike
spent
has
on
explained
future projects that were related to this
it.
project?
And we also don't know
Wait,
what
wait.
they brought in yet for product placement and all this stuff. Like, we do know what Man of Steel got, which was
Yeah,
160 million.
Ton
We
of
don't know
product
about
placement.
this. And this, I think there was more. That was my point, is because they have over 100 partners for this movie. And Milkbone, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
they probably dropped 100 million just alone. Because they're
Yeah,
between
just-
every thing that's in the movie. I
Yeah, and
mean,
they were like
come
the
on.
official sponsors of like the Puppy Bowl, all kinds
That's
of
what I'm
stuff.
saying. Yeah, they probably dumped, and they see, that's the other thing too. And Odin, I'm sure you know this, but like, the audience doesn't know this. When they say they're spending like $200 million on advertising, usually what that means is like the company will put in 100, but they're also factoring what they figure is $100 million worth of advertising being done by other companies like McDonald's, Milkbone, Target, whoever else is one of their partners, right? And that's kind of like, so whenever McDonald's does a Happy Meal, that they consider that part of the advertising.
Well, and the licensing too.
It's always
like,
hard to
dur-
quantify, like, who's getting what. And that's why I wish that there was a much more straightforward reporting system of like, okay, you actually spent this amount of money, because that I know that, understand like the form, you want to try and get as much as you can, but I feel like you can only overestimate your budget by so much, like legally speaking. Because it's like, if you're saying your film cost $360
absolutely.
million, but you only spent I guess to get down to 225, which is the reported number, I assume that they would have gotten it down probably to 255 with the tax credits, bringing it down to 225.
Right.
It's like, I'm sorry, that's like $100 million off. I don't see that. Like, that's why,
Well, and the other thing, you got to factor in here is,
Yeah.
besides that, because they have to be close. But here's the other thing: is they'll rent and do their own facilities, and they'll maximize that price out, right? Like, so say if they have a lighting, they'll put down a lighting company, right? I'm just throwing something out there.
yeah.
That comes in and does their lighting. Well, it's a company that's actually owned by the studio, but they rent their services. So they're basically paying themselves, and then they'll put the maximum amount down,
Yeah.
even though they're only paying the minimum amount. They do that all the time.
I have
That's
a
called
relative that
movie
does that. I have a relative that owns buildings, and he rents his other companies. So he owns buildings, and he has a contracting company. Well, he rents his building to his contracting company, and he writes us all off on this huge, crazy, incestuous tax form.
It's
And he
almost
brags
like,
about it. Like,
it's almost like when Disney says, yes, we made so much money on streaming by paying ourselves to put our own movie on our streaming service.
It is, but it isn't. See, the difference is they're actually using the services, right? There is actual money being changed of hands, but the amount of money that
legal.
they're claiming
Yeah.
is way different than what's actually being paid.
well, another thing too. Do you have to do that form for like Peacemaker season 2, streaming services on that, Odin?
Do I
Like
have
this-
to do that?
No. Do they have to do that form for like their streaming shows?
I mean, again, the issue with anytime anything is done in the United States is that it's very hard to like find the information. It's kind of weird because you think about how transparent, at least it seems like we would be versus other countries, but it's kind of amazing that you get more honesty from Hollywood production companies from the United Kingdom because of the way their tax system works and because of the way their tax credit system works than you do here. And it's like,
Because
man,
of freedom, bro.
if there's
Hugh
one
Eagle
thing,
sounds here.
if there's like, if I was a single issue voter on anything, it would be like, all right, tell me who's going to write the bill that says that a movie company has to tell me how much they spent on this movie.
Odin would be a single issue voter
That'd be
just
the one
for
thing.
movie box office reporting.
Exactly.
No, but what I was saying was, so they don't have to report on their Peacemaker season 2. That's their internal,
Depends on the
accounting.
state, and again, it depends on what.
So
the
think about
text-
this:
yeah.
why is all these Superman characters in development in Superman also went towards Peacemaker and Supergirl and a bunch of other productions? So can't you put a lot of those numbers for these projects that aren't reporting into the same exact movie? Because that's what I would do. That's what my relative would do who rents himself buildings.
I think you have to do it per production, though. That's the
yes, but I guess what Brian is asking here, and in Gesundheit, Chris, I think the best answer to your question is yes. Superman was kind of treated like a pilot episode, right?
Right.
I think that you are correct. I think that whatever extra sunk cost Warner Brothers is figuring, it doesn't matter because it's being set up for other future projects. Because I guarantee you, Supergirl is going to cost maybe half of what they spent on Superman. And we already know Clayface is going to cost half of that. And I bet you they're only spending $20 million on the movie.
Clayface
like I was saying
next
before.
to nothing.
See, that's the
Pete
thing.
Safran is on the header for that, so it's gonna be
bingo. So, like, at the end of the day, they're looking at it as this is a successful start, regardless. Like, even if you want to say they were all in $325 million, they're still going to clear enough to where they're going to go between video sales, VOD, all that kind of business. The
and the merch, bro. They have like Superman wallets.
I'm not even
Superman
talking
pins,
about that.
Superman.
I'm just talking about how, like, Star Trek is a good example of this, right? Like, Robert Meyer Burnett has always pointed this out, and this is what kind of never made sense to me about Discovery, was that, when they brought Brian Fuller, to do Discovery, and he got the show going, they were upset because it was expensive. He's like, yeah, well, you got to amortize this, right? Like, you spend all your money up front. You got to build the sets, you make the costumes, then you just keep using that stuff over and over and over and over and over again, right. And it works itself out down the line. And they just couldn't get their heads around that concept for some dumb reason. So then they bring in Kurtzman, who costs twice as much. But I think the only reason they managed to deal with that is because he brought the Netflix deal in or something like that. But
yeah, that's why Picard season 3 had exactly 3 sets that were used 47 times from 15 different angles.
And that's kind of
how he was able to do it for $1 million an episode.
Yeah. So all the sets and stuff that were built for Superman are probably going to be reused again in Supergirl and so on down the line and stuff like that. And I think that's part of where they're figuring in those costs. But at the end of the day, the proof will be in the pudding. If in 5 years they're not making any more of these films, then that means they weren't making any money, right? Like, regardless of what the Snyder Bros want to tell you, the amount of money that those movies cost compared to what they were bringing in and video sales and merchandise just wasn't cutting it. So that's where they're at right now. They're like, they want money. David Zaslav is not somebody who's going to piss around. If it's not making money, he's not going to pull the wool over your eyes and pretend and go, look over here, it's actually making money. No, if it's not making money, guess what? People are going to get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he has a track record that people complain about that. He will cut the movie. I mean, Acme versus Coyote, whatever that movie is, it's finally gonna get a release date because he wasn't gonna go out until it made money. It's either gonna be a tax write-off or it's gonna make money. Either or.
What I was reporting was true, because even though people are like, he just doesn't want people to see the movie, he wants too much for it. And I'm like, no, everybody came in and lowballed him.
Right.
And they needed X amount, or they were better off just writing it off on their taxes. If they couldn't come in with this, and it wasn't like they were asking for some astronomical amount for Coyote versus Acme. We found out it was only $50 million, which is reasonable considering the movie cost 30-40 million to make, Odin, I think it was. So they're basically taking a bath on this thing at the end of the day. But I think they're retaining like digital distribution and stuff like that for like HBO Max and stuff like that. So that's the only reason they're benefiting from that.
Oh yeah, and that's actually like a random thing too. Like, because I just found this out the other day when it came to the box office for F1, because I had never heard this before. Apple sold the rights to Warner Brothers, except for one thing, and it's premium streaming. It's PVOD. No, it's not even PVOD. It's like PSOD. It's a new one I'd never heard before. It's premium streaming on demand, meaning it's like the service you pay for. So a Netflix is a premium streaming, or a Apple TV Plus is a premium streaming. So it's not like a VOD where you can buy it or rent it. It's like if you have the service, you get access to it. So that's the only thing Apple still has the distribution rights to.
Exclusive. Because I was the one who was telling people that, because I had to dig it up, because I was like, because everybody kept asking.
I've never heard that before, though. I was like, that's a new term. I did.
Well, and this is where I said I think this is the future of where some of these are going to go.
Yeah,
I think a lot of times what they're going to do is when the dust all settles, HBO Max is going to basically be what HBO was back in the day, and so on and so forth. And what they're going to do from now on is they're going to work out these deals to where it's either a distribution deal or it's going to be an all-in HBO Max deal. If that's the case, then they're not going to spend nearly as much.
No,
right?
and
But F1
Apple
was already pre-done, yeah.
Yeah, and Apple at this point has no reason to do what they were doing previously because all their other films had just never did much of anything. And so it's like they finally found the magic potion. So as long as they can get people to buy it, and I guess if they produce movies like F1, which is arguably the best movie of the year so far, then they'll probably have some pretty good money coming in.
Weird. You put some movie stars in your movie, you put it in theaters for a few months, and then you put it on home video and streaming. Imagine that, Holden. What is this crazy concept?
Whoa.
Well, it's just a simple, entertaining story. Well done. I mean, that's all. That's the formula.
What you were saying
Warner
about
wound up
Zaslav
with
earlier is,
theatrical and home video distribution. You are correct. Yes.
that's what I like about Zaslav, what you were saying earlier, is that he's just sort of a pragmatic CEO. He's like, it needs to make this much. If it doesn't make this much, it's going to be a tax write-off. It's not about art. It's not about like, how someone feels. Is pure numbers. If it doesn't make this much, we have to write off, and whatever is the most beneficial for the company is what we're doing. Not what's beneficial for the creator or what's beneficial for the ESG score or whatever. It's what's beneficial for the company. That's what we're doing. That's what I like about him. People hate him for it.
If he's so good, why are they cutting his salary?
Yeah.
It's beneficial for the company.
We all know why. We all know why.
Look, like Zaslav, if you haven't seen it yet, what Zaslav derangement syndrome looks like, I mean, come on. They're downgrading
I said it
their
specifically
stock.
because Tom, I know, has something ready to go
They've
for it.
downgraded their stock, yet they are the only studio that has had consistent hits, right? Like, nonstop. The only things you can point at and go they fucked up on were Furiosa, and what was that other one that was really bad?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm trying to remember now. Joker 2. Joker 2 is the only two that you can really point to and say those were snafus. Outside of that, they have made up for those and then some, because for every Furiosa, you got a Beetlejuice, a Dune, and a Godzilla. Or you got a Sinners and a F1, or, just, you could throw them out there all day long for the last few years. That the Superman thing, and this is why I'm like, why are y'all panicking? They don't need Superman to do as much as y'all think it does. I don't know where this whole idea that Superman was going to sink the company is coming from. Because if anything, the only company it's going to sink is DC Studios. Yeah. That's why they separated him out. Yeah. So that this is on him. This is all on James Gunn right now. He's like, it's either fly or fall, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I bought in at Warner Brothers at about right there. So I'm feeling pretty good. Keep downgrading the stock, guys, because every time you downgrade the stock, retail investors are buying it. The price is going up and up and up because most people are not buying your bullshit anymore.
Oh. How's your Disney stock doing now that you have the stock?
So let's talk about compared to Disney,
who's
only had one hit in the last year, right? And they're
their stock is
Avatar.
Oh, and with Fantastic Four is 60 plus, and Tony at Deadline saying 66% drop for week 2. Domestically for Fantastic Four. I mean, it's going to do, I think the internationals are probably going to be a little bit better, but it's likely going to be, quote, the highest grossing MCU film this year, and it's going to maybe be 500 million. Maybe.
Yeah. What's going to be sad is if it actually ends at 444, like I said.
I know.
It's a joke.
Yeah. It's possible. If the internationals drop off, that's absolutely a possibility.
You know, it's not a joke, gentlemen.
Oh,
super chats.
Yes.
We got Kalekioki who says, so Odin, 800 million is the new billion, huh?
Exactly.
Code. Well, it's just they're not spending the amount of money they used to. Especially Warner Brothers.
So I brought that up on FNT last night, and yeah, my comment was, it depends on your budget. It depends on how much you're spending. Like, no, your movie doesn't have to make $1 billion if you only spent 20 million on your budget and you made 500 million. But if you spend 300+ million on your film, Disney, and then you make less than $1 billion, Disney, then yeah, you do need to kind of make $1 billion to do that. And then the joke was made was, oh, whatever Fantastic Four makes, that's just going to be the new thing. Like, oh, well, 500 or 600 million, that's the new $1 billion, right? Because, the Coke is real.
Well, I think what's funny about this, and I don't know if this is what this was coming off of or not, but
the article that came out.
Yeah, James Gunn 2 weeks ago saying in the one interview, like, look, I know there's a lot of doom and gloom around, and I'm paraphrasing, there's a lot of doom and gloom around this movie, but it doesn't have to do this big enormous amount. If it does between 600 and 700, they're in the profit. That's what he said. And I believe that for the most part. And that's kind of what Feige turned around and said last week, too. Mm-hmm. He's like, these movies don't make $1 billion anymore, which is exactly what James Gunn said. And as long as they make X amount, well, that tells us then you've learned that you got to stop spending as much on these movies. Otherwise, you're not going to make your profit. That's the whole point of these, and this is why these movies were so big to begin with. Is because they were a crapshoot to start with. That's why for 20 years they tried to start the comic book movie. It wasn't until X-Men and Spider-Man all hit in a row, and they finally got this kind of formula. We're like, okay, if we just kind of throw this thing together, and they're a property that people know, like the Fantastic Four or the Hulk or whatever, people will go see it. And if we spend, 60, 70, $80 million on the movie, we'll probably profit. And then you have like things all of a sudden like Iron Man come along that creates the Marvel universe, which, leads up to this $1.5 billion, I think it was. What was it? The first the first movie made, I think it was $1.3 billion.
The first Avengers film, well over $1 billion, yeah.
Somewhere in that region, somewhere between $1.3 billion and $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we got to get us some of that. And Dark Knight did it around the same time. And they're like, oh, well, we got to get us some of that. So then it was like everything. They just had that expectation, and it was all Marvel's fault because they built up this idea that, you keep building and building and building, and we got to Infinity War and Endgame, and Endgame was the peak. Nothing is going to beat that again. It's going to be for a long time before something beats that.
Well, by that, you mean like cinematic universe or box office? Because we all know
both.
Avatar.
Well,
sadly,
maybe by box office.
Sadly,
but
box office, yeah. It's like, I don't want it to be true, but yeah, box office is the only thing. It's
but
like,
they don't have 5 Avatar movies coming out every year. See,
no.
that's the difference.
And also,
right?
we've seen, we've only had 2 so far. It's insane. There's only been 2 Avatar films, and the first, I can't stand it. But it's like, it's so funny because people are like, oh, what's going to make $1 billion this year? I'm like, well, I can tell you right now, I'll make an easy prediction. Avatar 3 is going to at least make $1 billion. I will put my everything on there because that's like a guarantee, unfortunately. But their audience is shrinking. The difference between
this Avatar.
And every movie they're losing more and more and more audience because I think eventually people are waking up and being like, yeah, it was pretty, but it's amazing how much money it makes, and then no one remembers anything about it. Like
it's all international. That's why, Odin.
Yes.
See, and that's what I said about the last one too.
And that was the comment I was going to make about the James Gunn versus Kevin Feige, is that with James Gunn making that comment, him saying, oh, it only needs to make about, maybe 600 million or so to break even. It actually is true because of where it's making the money. Like, that's the other thing too, because they're doing bonkers money domestically. They're not doing much of anything internationally, but hey, that's actually better bottom line because you get a lot more of your box office from the domestic. When Kevin Feige says that, the problem for him is that his budgets are significantly higher, and because they are not making money anywhere, domestic or international. Yeah. And so Feige, honestly, at this point, with all the decisions and all the things that he's been saying, I'm amazed the dude still has a job. Because 3 MCU films to come out in a year, and all 3 of them are going to be failures.
Yeah, and the only 2 hits they've had in the last 5 years have been Spider-Man No Way Home and Deadpool, which are arguably 2 non-MCU MCU films.
Yeah, and the other one that you could have argued was
Guardians 3.
No, not even that. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because 950 million sounds great until you look at the budget. And then you're like, oh, never mind, that's not actually making any money for you. Like,
and that's why I said Guardians, because that one was cheaper and it did only like 800, but I think profit wise,
it was just about there.
A little bit
just about there.
Bigger margin than Mom. But you see, that's the thing is my feelings on this is Multiverse of Madness is where this thing got broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot of people want to blame this, that, the other. No, you watch that movie. The problem there is because that was the last one to almost make $1 billion, but that's where the audience went in realizing, oh shit, this isn't Doctor Strange 2. This isn't even a follow-up to No Way Home. This is a sequel to a TV show I didn't even fucking watch.
Yeah. The WandaVision, America Chavez movie.
And the thing that people forget, right, because we typically only talk about the final end point, 950, is that, okay, yes, Superman opened up $200-ish million. You had Fantastic Four, $200-ish million. This year, the biggest films opened to $300-ish million. People forget that movie opened to $450 million globally in its debut. And then it tanked after it because of how bad it was. With an opening weekend like that, if you have an average run, you're easily making over $1 billion. So the fact that it capped out at like 950, like it capped out before the $1 billion, like people might say, oh, it still made $900 million. Well, one, the budget made that irrelevant, but also two, it should have made a hell of a lot more money than just that.
Yeah, and that one had major reshoots. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the
and
only reason
everything
it
since
made-
then has not even gotten close,
Yeah.
and has been a catastrophic
It's
failure.
been broke since.
The only reason it did that well too was No Way Home was a massive success, and they were doing the sort of people who went to see it were seeing the trailer, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be a continuation,
Yep.
basically, of No Way Home."
Yep, and it wasn't, unfortunately. And the
Not
reason
at
I
all.
mentioned Guardians is because that one actually had some legs to it, because that was when Marvel was on the down swing, and that was the only one to actually kind of go above the rest. But that was because word of mouth got out about it.
Well, and everybody liked Guardians, so it was
Because it was one of the only ones that was kind of a consistent trilogy that
Right,
actually
it really
self-contained, and the only other movies you had to have seen at that point was Infinity War and Endgame. Right, so if you only have had to watch 5 movies to see all the films and know what's going on, then you're pretty good at that point, right? Because that's the other problem with Marvel right now is there's so much homework, and that's where James Gunn has the upper hand here with Superman. Because as far as I can tell, unless we find out otherwise when Peacemaker comes out and so on and so forth, he's not setting this other shit up as homework. It's more or less just an also ran. Right? Like you can go and just check it out. That's why I loved Peacemaker's cameo in Superman. It didn't fucking matter.
It didn't
got
matter.
cut out.
Yeah.
Right.
And to kind of also just to kind of showcase how successful Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 really was, its opening weekend wasn't that impressive because it was, I think, still suffering from
Yes,
the
that
effects
was
of
my
everything
point.
else.
Yep.
Because it was like 289 globally. But by week 2, it was already at 528.
Yeah,
2
that's what I
weeks
was saying.
in, 528.
Is it kind of had a soft opening, but then the legs and the word of mouth just kept going. And that's kind of what happened with Superman in a way. Not as much. And I'm sure Warner Brothers would have wished it was as much. Don't get me wrong. Like at the end of the day, we're not sitting here, we're not going to argue with you. Would Warner Brothers be very, very fucking happy if this movie legged out 7 to 8 to a billion? Oh, hell yeah. They'd be super happy. But they know realistically at this point, the fact that Superman came out and did as good as it did its opening weekend, has legged out like this, doesn't matter. At the end of you can be a Snyder bro, you cannot be a Snyder bro. Yeah. It is a success for Warner Brothers because of the state of comic book movies. And not just that, look at the DC universe. They have not had a hit basically since what? The Batman, if you want to count that a hit.
The biggest movie they've ever had was the first Aquaman.
Right, and that's my point. You could actually go all the way back to that was what I was going to say. If you really want to be truthful about this, and it's a decade. Yeah,
not just DC properties, but DCEU. Like that was the most successful. And so even though this is obviously not the DCEU, it's a
and Aquaman did well because they thought it was a continuation of the previous movie.
Oh, let's be real. We know why Aquaman did well.
My man.
For the same reason that Sydney Sweeny ads do well. Like this is the other side of this. Let's not pretend that men are the only one who can ogle, right? Let's not pretend that men are the only ones who can objectify. I mean, the reason that Aquaman did as well as it did is because women knew they were going to go in and see Sons of Aquamanarchy on screen for most of the movie with no fucking shirt on.
Yep. And I remember the weekend it came out, and I remember looking at the demographic breakdown, and it was like oh gosh, this explains why the film is doing as well as it did.
Now I know why my wife wanted to go watch that movie.
I think down the line at one point, maybe even by week 2 or 3, there was like either 50-50 split men women, or women maybe even had an advantage at one point. It was like oh man, okay, this explains a lot as far as
you probably are aware of this. Tell us now how well changing the Silver Surfer to a woman did for the MCU and Fantastic Four demographics.
Oh, I mean, you could clearly see that it's got your typical 70-30 60
if anything, it's got less women going.
Let me pull up my movie.
So I think we have a video coming out about that, how they've lost more women in the MCU than anything with this MCU business.
Oh yeah.
You're pointing out what brings the women in, and Marvel, DC, they both do it. You see more men with their shirts off than you see busty women in these superhero movies. There's not any cheesecake in these superhero movies for the guys to latch onto. We're just attracted to these movies about power and strength and fights and battles and superheroes and all that, but the women are going because it's hot dudes.
And I don't hear women complaining about David Cornsweet. I mean, we're disagreeing about the movie aspects, but
yeah. And honestly, I think the film would have done better had Cornsweet actually been the main focal point. Like I
That's
think and this is and I think that this is like the debate is really more so over James Gunn than it is over the movie itself.
Exactly.
But that's the problem, right?
About that all day long,
I think unfortunately I think you could argue I think both James Gunn and people outside of James Gunn made James Gunn the center of everything, and I think that ultimately hurt it. But going to the Fantastic Four numbers, and so Movio.co, which does these demographics for the United States, this is Fantastic Four's opening weekend, 74% of the audience was male, 26% was female.
That's a big downturn for the MCU.
Now, when did what was the weekend Superman opened again? Was that the 4th or the 11th?
2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now.
July 11th, maybe.
Yes, July 11th was the date. Yes.
So now, to be fair, that one also 74% male, 26% female, right? But we obviously are also seeing very different numbers there too, with the holds and everything else.
Yeah, I'm curious how that has legged out, because like I was kind of getting at is like, I'm not seeing like the whole like, I thought for sure we'd see a lot more Henry versus David between the women. I'm not. Not even in the Toxic Femme chat. Like, I mean, obviously Anna has her preference for Henry still, but I don't see the debate in there. I mean, they all liked David in the film.
I can tell you, as far as the gays go, we prefer Henry.
I'm sure you did. Because he's more, the dominant type.
Yeah. We got a super chat from Adam Warford.
Yes.
They're doing what Disney is doing. I don't remember when he said that. So,
yeah, I'm not sure what that's referring to, Adam. You don't have to send another super chat. Just let us know what that's.
Aquaman, by the way, 2018, 63% male audience, 37% female.
The women showed up.
Women showed up.
Surprise, surprise.
Yep, and they had the same issue with Megan here a few weeks back too. I'm sure you checked into that a little bit too. The women just totally rejected that. It's like you just rejected your core audience, because women love horror probably almost as much as men do. Like that's one of the reasons why it does so popular.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even just a men and women thing for that one. They just misread their audience.
Yeah, that was
like,
totally fucked up.
They saw because again, it was impressive. A January movie, that first one. That's where January is the place where films go to die, as I like to say. And it somehow did just these amazing numbers for the budget and everything else. And they decided, ooh, let's strike while the iron's hot and just put out a sequel. And it's like, that's not how that works. You can't just recapture that lightning in a bottle. Unlike Aquaman's second weekend, which had a 55-45 split, with females making 45% of the audience.
Even Nightmare on Elm Street 2 went gay for the sequel, but you know what they also did? Freddy's Revenge is the title, and that's what I was reminding them, is like, yes, you can mess with the formula a little bit, but the sequel of a horror film always has to be the killer's revenge. It always is. That's just that's your... Megan 2 would have made so much money had they just basically redid the first movie. Like, that's it.
And I haven't heard terrible things. I haven't heard terrible things about the sequel either. Again, I'm not saying that it's good because I haven't seen it, but I didn't hear terrible things. The issue was that the marketing was off because it was a different movie. It was a different kind of movie. They were not going after the same audience. It reminds me so much of one of the worst marketing campaigns of all time, which was the I forget which studio did it, but all the ones doing the Poirot stories. And they decided for A Haunting in Venice to make the
Disney.
trailer. Oh boy. Remember, they made the trailer a horror film.
Yep.
And it didn't appeal to anyone because horror fans were like, this doesn't look good. And then the actual audience, the old people, looked at that and said, I don't like the old scary movies.
They didn't even know what it was.
Nobody saw it.
Well, because
I gotta be honest though, I saw Megan 2 and I liked it more than I liked the first movie.
Yeah.
Well,
again,
I thought it was a
I've heard
better
good
movie.
things. Yeah.
And the problem with that is you can do that, but not till like the fourth or fifth movie. The problem was they thought they could pull the Terminator 2 thing, but the difference is Arnold Schwarzenegger became Arnold Schwarzenegger between Terminator and Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Megan is a character, right? You have to build that up. You have to let her eventually revolve around becoming, okay, so you come up with something badder than her eventually, but you still got to let her be Megan for 2 or 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
You didn't bring in the Bride of Chucky until the 4th film. Right, like that's my whole point. You don't get goofy and start messing with the formula until the people know the formula well enough. That's when you flip it on its side, so then people go, "Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that." See, that just didn't work here, and it's not gonna work for this. And
Well, you know what's funny in this movie?
I think it's gonna be one of the biggest losers of the summer because of that.
This movie kept jumping back and forth. There was a point where You thought it was T2, and then you thought it was secretly a revenge film. And then you went back to thinking it's like a redemption arc. And then you thought, nope, it's a revenge film. She's playing him. It was actually a really good movie. I think you're right. They just didn't market it well. You know, because they did. They flipped the audience around like 5 or 6 times during the course
But you
of that
can't
story.
do that until the 3rd or 4th, maybe 5th film, right? Like that's my point, Brian, is like even Puppet Master, it wasn't until the 3rd film that they started making the puppets good. You know what I mean? And then it was just so they could go after Nazis. It was just like, oh, they're not so necessarily good. They're just people that are worse than them. You know what I mean? Like,
What I'm saying is the movie itself, outside the marketing, like it wasn't predictable. I went in thinking it was T2, and it did end up sort of turning out to be T2. But over the course of the film, I kept swapping my opinions. Sorry. It's a good movie,
I'm
though.
just
People
saying,
should
It's
watch
been
it.
out for us.
no, it's just because it's funny. Because
It's a science fiction movie. The first movie
That's
was a
the
horror
problem.
movie. This is
That's the
100% science fiction, not horror.
and that's the problem. You've alienated your core audience. See, that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for science fiction. That's so good to me all day long.
Yeah, but you know what we're a sucker for?
Super chats.
We got Gerald Campos sending in $20. Says, so far, Tom, nobody has made the point that there's no popcorn bucket. Imagine the revenue with a popcorn bucket, with all the golf pros and advertisers dissolved. Discuss. Yeah, that they can't do a popcorn bucket, but they did do. You know, they do have Netflix stores now. I wonder what they have for merch in their Netflix store. That's a good question. But I think what Gerald wants us to do is contemplate what the Happy Gilmore popcorn bucket would be.
A golf bag, obviously.
A golf bag would be one good one, yes.
That's all I can think of.
Hockey stick,
Just
golf club.
just
hockey
golf
stick
balls.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do like a big golf ball.
Giant golf ball. That's
Yeah,
probably
you could do
actually
like
what would make the most sense. The giant golf ball.
Gosh, what else could... I mean, really, I'm trying to think of anything gimmicky with the movie. The hilarity of that is you could maybe find things that you wouldn't make... Because like one of the ongoing jokes, and I know some people had an issue with this, and I'm like, I don't think they're making fun of the alcoholism so much as they're just making fun of the strange things that he found that he could put alcohol in.
That's right. That's
Is
what
you
they
could
could
maybe
have done.
come up with something in that respect, like the cuckoo clock. They could have it as a cuckoo clock as the popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little things like that, maybe something. But yeah, see, that's the other thing is otherwise, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Adam Sandler's dumb face, and you're eating out of his head. I mean, again, like,
Yeah, when he bitches
with the
about
teeth,
the
with
bust.
the statue. Yeah, that's right.
The big bust of the teeth. Yeah.
Yes.
What's with SpongeBob SquarePants over here? Yeah. So yeah, there you could go and do that one as a popcorn bucket. The bust.
Alligator
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you could
there's a
actually
few you
make
could do.
a series based off of like classics, even just from the original. Because I'm thinking you just take the random guy with the nail in his head, Mr. Larson.
Well, that's what they did for Naked Gun because they didn't really have anything to go with it. They just gave you the beaver from the first movie. There's no beaver joke in this one.
No.
But the beaver popcorn bucket is. I wonder how well that's selling.
Probably better than we would think. I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
Anyone who's a
Well,
fan of the original film will probably be like, "Oh, I gotta get the beaver."
And I'm sure, you guys have. And I can't believe Odin just said that. And I'm
Hey,
sure you guys.
the whole
have been,
joke in the movie is that it's an actual beaver. Okay, so
Yes.
I am being clean, good
It's
sir.
a nice beaver.
Good looking beaver.
You're always clean, Odin. I appreciate that, sir.
So yes, but we'll see how this weekend goes for a Naked Gun. It looks like it's going to do okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, let's see what else we got in the super chats.
That's it.
We got that one. Oh, that's it. I thought we
That's it.
had more.
That's it for super chats.
Did Adam Wolford ever get back to us on what Disney was doing? Did anybody
check.
catch that?
Let me check.
Did you tell
I
him
was
not
talking
to?
about them paying themselves. Oh, okay. Yes, and I think Odin actually said that after you probably said
Because my favorite is Tony at Deadline when he does his most profitable movies of the year list, and it's always like, oh, spare me. My favorite still to this day is when he has all the Disney films and then includes the Disney Plus profit for them in their numbers. But the best was TMNT. And I know that Tom is going to love this one, right? When it's like, oh, we're not going to put in merchandising for any other thing, but we're going to put the merchandise sales in for this movie, even though we can't really say it's all from toys specifically made from this or inspired by people actually going to see this movie, and not just the typical sales you get every year from...
And you can actually combat that because there was an article that came out just before the movie came out that said that up to that point that year, Ninja Turtles had a record, I think, billion in sales.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you want to know why? Because guys like me keep buying all the friggin' old stuff. We ain't buying none of this new crap.
Right.
But we're going to add that profit to that chart because then it gets in.
That's because we're buying NECA dolls that are $40 a piece. That's why.
Right.
And that's pretty much what did that. But yeah, so we had some stories and we talked about them, and we had some super chats and we talked about them.
And
I think we covered everything that we were going to talk about. Did we not, Brian? Or was there anything else that we needed to cover?
There was a Spider-Man suit reveal, if you want to look at it.
Oh, yeah, there was that. I'm kind of disappointed because does that mean we're not getting the suit we got at the end of No Way Home?
I don't know.
Because it doesn't look like the same suit.
At least it's not the Iron Spider.
Pretty short.
Well,
This is what's confusing about this movie, though, is like they keep teasing like this street level.
Oh, it is the same suit, maybe.
Hometown, hero.
Oh, so this is a different thing than I saw.
Aw.
It's supposed to be like a street level hometown hero thing, but they're shooting like overseas. They recently captured 60 blocks to do the third act fight scene. The Hulk is rumored to be in the film. Punisher's in the film
now, actually.
yeah, they can only put they don't own the Hulk enough, the rights to put him in his own movie, so they're going to stick him everywhere they can. And
Actually, I
Mark
think that
Ruffalo
lapsed.
needs to work.
I
No,
think that might have
Universal's still got some kind of hold over that situation.
Oh,
I think as long as they've got the Hulk ride, they must still have the rights, I guess, is the mindset.
Well, no,
I'm
I
not
thought
sure
that was a
what it-
totally different thing. See, the thing is with the parks thing is that Universal has the one coast, they have the rights to the characters. That's what it is.
There's something preventing them from doing a Hulk solo film.
Last I heard, the only thing stopping them from doing it is they don't think the Hulk's profitable. That's what
Well,
I
the
heard.
last
Ruffalo's
two
Hulk,
movies
yeah.
have probably proved that also,
I
right?
don't think it's profitable either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Makes-
because
makes
he's
them-
Mark Ruffalo and he plays on their team, they will put him in everything. And all of us will always be like, Mark Ruffalo's still in
Edward
this."
Norton's
What it is,
still the best
the
one.
rights is Universal still owns the first rights to distribute any Hulk film.
Do they still have that? That's what I was wondering. Is I thought they got that either lapsed or they got bought out of that. But okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
'Cause I thought
if
the
that deal-
Submariner and some
I know
other
that
things
deal
were
was
in that
supposed
deal.
to expire in 2023. Maybe it did. It was last
that's
I
what I was
heard
gonna
it-
say. Because isn't that the year Wakanda Forever came out? Because Submariner and a couple other ones were in that deal too. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't get widely enough reported, and
That's
Kevin
what I'm saying. Well, it
Feige
didn't
won't
matter because
call
I
me
think
back.
somebody asked Kevin or somebody within Marvel, and they said, "Oh, we can do a Hulk movie. We just don't want to, or we're just not going to because it's not profitable, or whatever." Is what I think the answer was. And yes, you're right. Up to a point, they could make Hulk in a movie. They just couldn't put Hulk in the title. That was the main thing. But yeah, so otherwise, I don't even know where it's at anymore. But I don't think they care.
Maybe they'll do a Red Hulk movie.
Well, they just did one. Ooh,
No,
yeah.
just a Red Hulk. Yeah. And so that was starring Falcon Cap, right?
That's what they had you think it was all Red Hulk, even though he was only in it for like 2 minutes.
Marvel.
Captain America wasn't in the film.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. Well, let's get on out of here. Chris, why don't you tell the folks what you do? You got a website.
I do. It's called Bleeding Fool. It's at bleedingfool.com. We talk about some of the same type of things that we shared here. The occasional movie review, Toxic Masculinity Tuesday. We do an indie comics showcase every Wednesday. Right now on the top of our fold is Jeremy Renner might be ready to come back to Marvel, but do they want him back? And that article I mentioned to you guys about streaming fatigue. So looks like wealthier people are the ones going to the movies, and the po folks are staying home watching streaming with somebody else's password, sharing. So there was actually a huge study.
That's possible.
There was a huge study done, and there's still a lot of password sharing that's going on, according to this article. But Check us out at bleedingfool.com or at bleedingfool on X, or I'm at Chris Brawley on X.
Thanks for popping in today. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Enjoyed it.
And Odin, tell the folks out there what you got going on. I'm sure you're
Yeah.
doing a stream, I think, tomorrow.
No, so I will have my box office breakdown video live tomorrow.
Or the
Not
video.
live, but it will go live tomorrow around 3 p.m. normally. Usually it's depending on what time I get home from mass and when my kids get down. But yeah, article at geeksgamers.com, that will go live sometime tomorrow evening. And then a video usually goes up before the article, and that'll be on OMB Reviews on YouTube, on Rumble, on X as well. So yeah, always glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Brian, you going to do a show after this?
Yeah, we're doing a show right after this. Literally going to pee in a bottle.
No,
You know,
please don't do it again.
brush my hair out a little bit. Takes
With
about
the
a minute and a
pee?
half for me to get John in there, and then we're gonna start the show. And we're talking about
He goes
it's sort
in
of
the
like
bottle?
it's sort of like this show, just a little not this, yeah, just a little more edgy, a little more politics. And that's gonna literally, you should be redirected from this show to that show right afterwards. So if you're just still chilling, join us for that show.
I'm hung up on the pee bottle.
Did they
Yep.
get to watch you pee in the jug between
No,
shows?
I do
Oh,
that during the countdown.
Okay.
So I don't have time to leave, so I just pee in a
it's a long
jug.
countdown.
Is it
This
like a
gonna-
game?
It's a
Can
5-minute
Can I
countdown.
Can I beat the countdown?
It's a 5-minute countdown.
There was a stream a
okay.
few weeks
Yeah.
ago where
That
he
should
did
be
it
plenty of
during
time.
this show.
I did. During this show, I just peed in a bottle.
And
Oh,
then
no.
he showed us he showed us the
Yeah.
bottle, and I was just like, I can't. No, I just can't.
It's not my fault, guys.
I'm
Like,
glad I missed that.
here's the problem. Matt has me working. I don't have time to pee. He's like
End
the
the show.
Amazon of
End the show,
YouTubers.
Brian. You can
All right,
me at
guys.
Midnight's Edge.
You can find Tom at Midnight's Edge and a bunch of other channels.
Before we
He's
see a
everywhere.
fucking pee
He
bottle.
is. He's ubiquitous. He's like Pedro Pascal, man.
He's like the Pedro Pascal of YouTubers. All right, man. I'll see you guys
No,
later.
that's Culture Casino.
Thanks, guys.
That's true.
Where's the out? Is there an
Get
outro?
us out of
thing?
here.
I don't know where the outro is.
Open
for
the
this.
door.
Here we go.
Oh, there it is. I found it. All right. I'll see you guys later.
Go.